We have a special report for you. But first, the headlines. China accuses the US of trying to thwart its improved ties with India. Beijing claims Washington is distorting its defense policy to achieve that goal. China says it views relations with India as strategic and long-term and asks Washington to quote-unquote not pass judgment on its border issue with India. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un visits a nuclear submarine factory and oversees the test firing of long-range surface-to-air missiles. Kim also received a message from Russia's Vladimir Putin, who hailed the quote-unquote invincible friendship between the two countries. Pyongyang and Moscow have strengthened their ties since the Ukraine war began nearly 4 years ago. Turkey arrests more than 100 alleged members of the Islamic State. Ankara says they were planning attacks during New Year celebrations in the country. The police carried out raids across Istanbul to make the arrests. Several pistols and ammunition were also seized. In Australia, an empty car with a Hanukkah sign is set ablaze in Melbourne. Hanukkah is a Jewish festival. The police have launched an investigation. This comes just weeks after the mass shooting at Bondi Beach. 15 people were killed in the attack, which took place at a Hanukkah festival.
For many in California, the holiday season has arrived under emergency alerts instead of festive lights. A powerful storm driven by an atmospheric river is pounding the state, turning celebrations into cautions and travel plans into evacuations. From Los Angeles to San Diego, relentless rain and fierce winds have triggered flooding across various counties, placing millions at risk. What should have been a time of celebration has now turned into a race for safety. With months worth of rain falling in just days, emergency declarations are spreading and power is out in many areas. As Californians continue to watch the water rise and hope the next morning brings calm.
Dark clouds swallowed the sky. Rain drenched the streets and mud poured down hillsides, swallowing fences, walls and entire driveways.
You okay?
Headlights flickered as cars crawled through knee-deep water. The father and daughter, visibly panicked, waded through floodwaters to rescue themselves.
Is this your dad?
This is not a movie. This is California, and this is how the storm arrived. On Wednesday, a powerful atmospheric river known as the Pineapple Express locked onto the state, unleashing heavy rains and life-threatening flooding. Forecasters warn this could be Southern California's wettest Christmas in years. But the reality has been far more brutal. The storm is expected to deliver months' worth of rainfall over the next few days. Meteorologists say this is a once in a 5 to 10 year weather event. They say a trough of low pressure that stretches across the Pacific Ocean is pushing wet air right up against the coastal mountains in Southern California. The wet air is hitting the state at the perfect perpendicular angle for maximum rainfall. The result? Entire streets have vanished. Hillsides are collapsing and neighborhoods are being told to evacuate. In Los Angeles County alone, officials went door to door, knocking on nearly 380 vulnerable homes, urging families to evacuate before debris flows turned fatal. Areas already scarred by January's wildfires now face a new enemy: unstable soil primed to slide with every drop of rain. Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency across vast stretches of California: Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, and beyond. More than 7 million people now sit in the highest risk flood zones.
We weren't expecting to spend Christmas stuck at the house with limited utilities. But the flip side of that is I can be thankful to spend time with my family. I've got 3 kids here with me, 3 dogs, and my wife, who is pretty excited to have me all to herself and the family for all of Christmas without having the opportunity to run off anywhere.
In the San Gabriel Mountains, mud and debris surge down roads leading into Wrightwood, a quiet mountain town now under evacuation warnings. Entire roads are washed out, and rescue crews are racing against time as the rain keeps falling. Relentless rains have disrupted travel plans for many during the holiday season. In Los Angeles, police have responded to dozens of traffic accidents as drivers navigate flooded intersections. Along the coast, places like Malibu are bracing for rising waters. Further north, the Bay Area is hammered by powerful gusts packing winds of up to 108 miles per hour. Across the state, some 80,000 homes and businesses had no electricity heading into Christmas Eve. The mayhem is not ending anytime soon. By week's end, parts of Southern California could see 4 to 7 inches of rain in coastal areas and up to 14 inches in the mountains. For Los Angeles, that's not just unusual, it's shocking. To put those totals into perspective, a city like Los Angeles could see anywhere from 2 months' worth of rain to nearly half a year's worth in just a week. Forecasters warn the danger isn't over yet. For now, California waits, watching the water rise, the hills tremble as the sky refuses to clear.
The powerful winter storms are sweeping across the state of California, triggering heavy rains and intense flooding. The National Weather Service has now declared a state of emergency, and multiple forecasts of hazardous weather have now been issued owing to the unprecedented downpour. Forecasters are now saying that Southern California could, of course, see its wettest Christmas in years, and now faces the highest flood risk with multiple inches of rain falling in just a few hours. Now, coastal Southern California could also receive several months' worth of rain in one of the 3 days, further exacerbating the risk of flooding. A flood watch remains in effect through Friday afternoon as the Christmas Eve storm is expected to continue impacting Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. Many residents, in fact, spend the Christmas Eve in evacuation centres after the authorities ordered for mandatory evacuations. Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency in 6 counties to allow state assistance in storm response. Flash flooding in Northern California led to water rescues and at least 1 death. The meteorologists say the heavy rains are driven by atmospheric rivers, which are essentially large plumes of moisture moving over California from the west coast all the way from the Pacific. And in areas burnt by wildfires earlier this year, saturated soil increases the risk of mudslides and debris flow. Los Angeles city officials are now urging the residents in about 130 homes, particularly in the Pacific Palisades, where last year's fires hit the hardest, to follow evacuation orders.
ICE agents big time opening fire on an illegal migrant in Maryland who allegedly tried to run over officers with a van. DHS says the officers approached the van while conducting an operation yesterday, and when they asked the man to turn off the engine, he refused and attempted to flee, ramming the van into nearby ICE vehicles.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement released a new video pretending to show Santa Claus rounding up illegal migrants, warning them to leave voluntarily before they end up on the naughty list. The holiday-inspired clip features a buff Father Christmas clad in a red bulletproof ICE vest cuffing an undocumented migrant on the street. Avoid ICE air and Santa's naughty list, the agency posted on X alongside the Santa video. Self-deport today with the CBP Home app. Earn $3,000 and spend Christmas at home with loved ones. Holiday incentive is valid through the end of 2025. It's not the first time the Trump administration has turned to AI to troll its critics, like when the president posted this video mocking Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in September, prior to the government shutdown.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Months earlier, Trump riled up his detractors with an AI-generated video depicting his resort-like vision for the future of Gaza. The bizarre clip featured a gigantic golden statue of the president, as well as images of him lounging topless poolside with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Some disturbing and important immigration news, and I need your help getting the word out. This has abducted and is currently holding a U.S. citizen in Louisiana despite clear evidence that she's a U.S. citizen. Her attorney's name is Victoria Slatton, and her name is Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales. According to her attorney, her sister says that she was abducted after leaving an establishment despite telling ICE that she was a citizen. Here's the problem. This person is a U.S. citizen. She has a birth certificate, a U.S. birth certificate. There's clear evidence that she's a U.S. citizen, and no denaturalization proceedings have been brought. ICE has no jurisdiction. I'm going to tag her attorney in the comments below. I want you to spread the word on this, and I'll be providing more updates as they become available.
Some breaking news that's come in. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky holds talks with the U.S. envoy. Zelensky says that he's had some very good talks with the American President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner that was focused on ending the war. In a post on social media, Volodymyr Zelensky said, and I quote him, "We discussed certain substantive details of the ongoing work, and there are some good ideas that can work towards a shared outcome and a lasting peace." And this comes just a day after Zelensky shared details of a fresh US-led proposal that was aimed at stopping the fighting that's been ongoing since February 2022. He offered Russia the potential withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the east and also the creation of a demilitarized zone in their place. So this, of course, is the latest bit of information that has come in, where Volodymyr Zelensky has had a meeting with the US envoy. Now, Zelensky has said that he had some pretty good talks with the American President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, focused on ending the war. In a post on social media, Volodymyr Zelensky said, and I quote him, "We discussed certain substantive details of the ongoing work. There are some good ideas that can work towards a shared outcome and a lasting peace." This comes a day after Zelensky shared details of a fresh US-led proposal that is aimed at stopping the fighting that has been ongoing since February 2022. He's offered Russia the potential withdrawal of the Ukrainian troops from the east and also the creation of a demilitarized zone in their place.
Now, Belgium has joined South Africa and several other countries in a case brought before the International Court of Justice, which accuses Israel of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. The United Nations Highest Court, based in The Hague, confirmed that Brussels had filed a declaration of intervention. Countries such as Brazil, Ireland, Mexico, Spain and Turkey have already joined the case. South Africa brought the case to the ICJ 2 years ago, alleging that the offensive launched by Israel in Gaza in the wake of the Hamas-led October 7th, 2023 massacre breached the 1948 UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Israel's rejected the accusation as baseless and accused South Africa of acting as an emissary of Hamas. It insists it makes every effort to avoid harming civilians and blames Hamas for their deaths because the terror group's fighters operate out of densely populated areas In rulings last year, the ICJ told Israel to do everything possible to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza, including by providing urgently needed humanitarian aid to prevent famine.
Going to get blown to pieces.
And that was Trump dropping a warning to Maduro and all of his men that they're going to get blown to pieces. So the military that's protecting the people in Venezuela tied into the same group, that's pushing drugs, even though they're more than likely two big separate units out there. Maduro's got his guys pushing stuff on boats, but then you got your regular military that runs around doing normal military stuff that's not pushing drugs, that may even have a problem with the drugs, but they got to defend the people. They got to defend the country. So now they're handing out guns and ammunition to everyday people, like going door to door, passing out weapons, getting their militias built up, and they're telling their people, get ready for a U.S. invasion. Now, Trump gave this big speech with Hegseth to one side, Rubio to the other, saying that we're going to take the ships, we're going to take them down, we're going to seize all the oil, we're going to keep the ships themselves, and we're about to start the land operations at any moment. And the way that Trump puts it, he says that the land operations are going to be way easier than the water operations. Only time will tell there, but we're seeing a huge influx of military assets rolling into the area. Like, we already had a bunch, but now a bunch more are being sent in. Ospreys are being sent in, special groups, and they're just seeing a surge in a lot of stuff here. Now, the military's not going to come out and say what they're sending, who they're sending specifically. You can kind of look at from a distance and see what's flying, what's heading out of where. But when they're asked, what units are being sent here or there, they say that they do not speak on that. So they're not stating what specific troops are being sent out now, although we know special groups are already in the area. It seems like it's about that time. We've been waiting a while, and a bunch of people don't want to see it happen, period, here. But it's inevitable. It looks like it's going to happen, and nothing's going to stop it. Maduro's not leaving. That was his option. So I expect that at any time a decapitation strike should kick the whole thing off, or at least an attempt in doing so. If not, they're going to start hitting smaller targets on land. You put civilians at risk. That's a lot of blowback that they don't want. And the quickest, easiest thing for them to do is to remove Maduro, and then it's done. Then they can get an election going, and they can get whoever they want up in there and get Maduro out. But also, when they strike Maduro, you're going to see strikes on other places, other compounds, other facilities, places that are housing the drugs and chemicals to make it, or anything else that they deem a threat at this point. That's just what America's going to do. Trump flexing here, and you heard it. If anyone wants to try to do anything, they're going to get blown to pieces. So that's where it sits.
Video, it says, shows its drones destroying Iranian fighter jets. Israel says Iran planned to use the F-14s to intercept Israeli aircraft. Israel says that it also struck Iranian missile and UAV launchers, which it says Iran planned to use to launch more attacks.
President Trump urges the people of Tehran to, quote, immediately evacuate.
As Connor Hansen reports, he still believes a deal with Iran is possible.
The set of a live broadcast on Iranian state TV was shaken and filled with debris after the building was hit by an Israeli strike. Israel's defense minister said, quote, the Iranian regime's propaganda and incitement broadcasting authority was attacked by the IDF after a widespread evacuation of the area's residents. A spokesman for Iran's foreign minister called the strike a, quote, wicked act of war crime.
We aim targets that connected to the regime.
Israel says it continues to hit Iran's nuclear sites, but the most important could be a facility hidden deep below a mountain that experts believe only the U.S. has the capabilities to destroy. So far, American forces have only stepped in to help protect Israel from incoming missiles. While meeting with other world leaders at the G7 in Canada, President Trump says there is still a chance for Iran to make a deal to end the fighting.
I think a deal will be signed or something will happen.
While Israel now claims to have control of Iran's airspace, Iran continues to launch deadly missile and drone strikes at Israel, forcing civilians to take shelter.
I would hope that the Iranians are wise enough to take the president up on his offer and to sit down and negotiate this out.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says over the weekend he sent more military capabilities to the area to protect U.S. troops.
A U.S. warship crossed a line, and Iran responded without firing a shot. Iran didn't watch. Iran acted. A U.S. destroyer moved toward a sensitive maritime zone. Not routine, not ignored. Within minutes, Iranian helicopters were airborne. They closed distance, issued direct warnings, forced acknowledgement. At the same time, coastal missile units weren't standing by. They were switched on. This wasn't diplomacy. It was execution. From shore, anti-ship missile systems with ranges exceeding 300 kilometers began tracking a single destroyer in real time. That ship wasn't projecting power anymore. It was inside a confirmed strike envelope. And that changes the math. A destroyer depends on carrier aircraft, escorts, layered defenses, but when distance collapses, those advantages disappear. Jets need launch time. Carriers need operating space. Missiles don't. In the Persian Gulf, land-based missiles can reach a warship faster than carrier aircraft can respond. Reaction time drops to seconds. One ship, multiple shore launch zones, no warning margin. That's why the destroyer altered course. Naval power didn't vanish. But in these waters, it's no longer decided by carriers, tonnage, or flags. It's decided by range, tracking, and who acts first. And this encounter proved one thing. At sea today, missiles don't support naval power. They define it.
Everything. The Middle East is on the edge, and this is not just another headline, ladies and gentlemen. Iran claims that it has done the unthinkable. A hypersonic missile allegedly hit the Israeli military intelligence chief's safe house during the last June's conflict. Yes, the missile targeted a specific office, and according to Tehran, it passed through a window with surgical precision. What a joke. Let me tell you what Iran is claiming here. Iranian generals, they are not hiding their truth. They claim Israel's Iron Dome and the US THAAD missile defense system, it failed to intercept. A vast Israeli spy network was dismantled, and much of Iran's military capability remained untapped, suggesting more strikes could be coming. You know, this is shocking. Iran's air defenses, they are supposed to be near unbreakable. Iron Dome, THAAD, they both are designed to protect cities, bases, and top secret sites from missiles and drones. Now, hypothetically, if Iran's claims are actually true, then it is a direct blow to Western military technology, right? And also Israel's intelligence security. But you know what this means for Israel here? From Israel's perspective, their top intelligence headquarters is vulnerable. Missile defense system, they may need urgent upgrades. Regional adversaries will be watching and learning. Well, for the citizen, this is a reminder that even secure locations aren't untouchable. And yes, the missile itself, why hypersonic matters. Let's talk about that. Hypersonic missiles, they fly 5 times faster than the sound. They can evade traditional defense systems. They can hit target with pinpoint accuracy. Well, Tehran claims that this strike demonstrates capabilities Israel and the US haven't fully defended against. And yet, there is a battle beyond the strike. Iran isn't stopping at bragging. They insist that spying network is all gone. Much of Iran's arsenal is still on standby. They are warning it is crystal clear. Any aggression will be met with precision retaliation. Now, this is psychological warfare as much as a physical warfare, right? Let me give you a bigger picture here. This strike, real or claimed, it shows that Middle East tensions are sky high. Advanced missile tech is changing the rule of engagement here. Israel and the US, they may need new strategies for missile defenses. Well, the region is watching. Every move counts here, and every missile, it tells a story. In the end, Iran claims that we can hit high-value targets with precision. Israel's defenses, tested and exposed. US missile system potentially vulnerable here. One thing is crystal clear, ladies and gentlemen. The Middle East is on the edge and every country is recalculating its
This is not negotiations. You don't determine the results of negotiations before negotiations. This is a propaganda talking point. So if they decide to attack Iran again, they would say we offered to negotiate with Iran. Nobody is accepting that type of language because we know, we have read American history. The only language they understand, unfortunately, is the language of force. Iran is not going to be surprised again. You're going to have thousands of American soldiers. We have about 50,000 American soldiers in this part of the world. Many of them will be killed if they attack Iran. This is the decision that the Iranian government has made, as far as I know. And I hope they stay away from that because those are young people with young families. It would be sad for them to die at that age.
From Jerusalem, I send warm greetings to our Christian friends around the world. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. From here, the Holy Land, Israel, the only country in the Middle East where the Christian community is thriving. Israel is the only country in the Middle East where Christians can practice their faith with full rights and in total freedom, where Christian pilgrims are embraced with open arms and are so deeply appreciated, where Christians can celebrate proudly their traditions and openly do so without any fear. In Jerusalem, the city municipality every year officially distributes Christmas trees. It's been doing so for 2 decades. By contrast, a few days ago, in the Palestinian town of Jenin, Palestinians burnt a Christmas tree in the Holy Redeemer Church. That's the difference. Israel stands up for Christians across the region, wherever they face widespread intimidation and persecution. While Israel's Christian population is growing, the Christian population in countless areas across the region has been dwindling due to systematic discrimination and oppression. This has happened in Iraq, it's happened in Syria, it's happened in Lebanon, it's happened in Turkey, and it's happening in the Palestinian Authority. The birthplace of Jesus, Bethlehem, used to have 80% Christian population. That's when we were there. When we left and gave it to the Palestinian Authority, it has since dwindled from 80% to 20%. The persecution of Christians or members of any religion cannot and must not be tolerated. And Muslim militant displacement and attacks against Christians in Nigeria, that too must end, and it must end now. I'm sending Israel's Christmas blessings to our Christian friends around the world, and I ask you, know that Israel will always stand with you.